I'd like for you to envision. Envision a world where doctors can get the context of a patient the moment they walk into the room, when they're able to understand them both medically and personally, where patients feel a sense of certainty, knowing what they're facing and how it's going to be dealt with in an efficient manner, where there is no lag in treating patients, and where doctors can have a truly patient-centric approach. Now, this is a utopia that any medical specialist would want to be in. But the reality is, as much as most of the things I've mentioned seem not possible or it's quite far-fetched, this is a world that I believe in. And it's really what fuels my innovation, my spirit in innovation and inspiring change. And it relates to my own personal journey of spending more than 2 decades as a pediatric radiologist. I participated in many outreach in our neighboring countries in Africa. In fact, I remember distinctly working in Swaziland together with the World Federation of Pediatric Imaging on a TB/HIV outreach project. In Swaziland alone, there was only one radiologist in the country. And due to the dire shortage of pediatric specialists, these children's x-rays were interpreted by medical officers and interns who have no prior radiology experience. Now, to bring this into perspective, Africa is a continent where more than half the population is under the age of 15. And myself, as only 1 out of 20 pediatric radiologists on the continent, is testament to the disparity that exists in the youngest continent in the world, where pneumonia is the #1 cause of death in children under the age of 5, where there's large volumes of medical attention needed, but there's minimal reach. I knew with just human capacity alone, we cannot solve these challenges. And that is why I wanted to get a machine to augment and multiply what I do. And this is how Envisionit Deep AI was conceptualized, bringing to the world a holistic approach to artificial intelligence. Now, the beautiful integration of technology doesn't just occur on the inside of medical facilities. I grew inspiration from other companies, companies like Zipline. You've seen the CEO yesterday. Now, Zipline started off as a Silicon Valley startup. They were initially turned down when testing fixed-wing drones in the US airspace. But Rwanda in East Africa welcomed the company with open arms. And Zipline is now and has pioneered the safe, critical delivery of blood and medical supplies to remote areas in Africa. And they're a unicorn. So it's really in celebrating these achievements and technological advances to realize how far we've come. But I do fear the medical industry often leads one to being more reactive and not proactive. COVID, the pandemic, came as a shock. It made us all aware of the need to innovate, right? Because of the lack of resources. And we realized that it wasn't just a low, middle income community problem or a third world problem. It became a medical industry problem. And COVID made us all aware of the need to innovate, to deal with the challenges that come our way, because being reactive might just be too late. So in light of that, I want us to bring us attention to what is artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is the ability of a computer or a computer program to think and learn. And artificial neural networks are really inspired by neural networks in the brain, where the neuron is a cell that transmits and processes information. And just like how in the brain you have neural networks that occur in layers, in artificial neural networks, there's multiple layers as well. So just to summarize, artificial intelligence is a training process of making a computer think and learn through a series of programming, training processes, and testing. So imagine it like a tiny human child growing up into a smarter version of itself, right? And just like the humans, AI can also have issues and problems. And the scope of AI applications is quite significant. We're in an era where there is significant adoption in AI. Human safety is a major concern. And that is why at Envisionit Deep AI, it was important for us to have validation and monitoring in all our solutions. So this is where we brought in the human in the loop. Now, how can humans and technology join in on the dance of development without stepping on each other's toes? In light of that, just for a second, I'd like to bring you into certain technologies that are good examples of that. Messaging apps and mobile solutions have allowed people to adopt behavioral mechanisms that allow for more convenience. And the beauty of this, it has opened us to experiences we would have never felt before.
Jim had come downstairs and told me that, hey, Dad, this is really weird, but, look at my watch. It's showing my heart rate is, 150 beats per minute. So we called his doctor. She said, you need to just take him to the hospital. It was weird. They just started filling the room. So I go from having like 2 nurses and a cardiologist and the attending emergency room doctor in there to suddenly more and more people are getting in there. By this point, his heart rate was just going, 175, 180 beats per minute, and it just steadily staying there. They were getting ready to push another medication, and then the cardiologist comes in there. He looked at me and says, I just want you to be prepared. If this does not work, you're going to be airlifted. And it just kind of hit me how serious this was. Everybody in that room was just quiet. I mean, just watching that monitor, all staring at it. And then all of a sudden, came down, and he was okay. That was hard. To the idea that I almost lost him. So it makes me appreciate him a little bit more.
Now, this is such a beautiful showcase and a well-choreographed dance between technology and humans. Imagine if such a relationship existed throughout every element of the medical industry. Often, artificial intelligence is seen as an invader, and people asking the questions, is artificial intelligence here to take over? And this is where the big shift goes from human versus AI to human and artificial intelligence. And this is the evolution that we need to understand as being inevitable and would be more human than we think. So, with artificial intelligence, the spread of knowledge will intensify, and it will help us solve some of the challenges we were not able to solve before. But no algorithm is perfect. And so the best solution is to combine an algorithm with the human, and this is known as a cybernetic relationship. And that's how you build the cyborg of today. So envisioning a world where doctors can get the context of a patient and understand them medically and personally, where patients feel a sense of certainty, knowing what they're facing and how it's going to be dealt with, where doctors can have a truly patient-centric approach is possible. If you can grasp on this call to action, when you realize that the actual cyborg of today is not the latest technological addition, it's actually the human edition. As Socrates said, the secret of change is to focus all your energy not on building the old, but on building the new. Thank you for your attention. Please come visit me at our stand at Envisionit Deep AI if you have any questions.